So Juan, tell me what's going on with you, dude. The lighting in your office looks a little bit different today. Are you going for a new look?
Oh yeah, completely different look. Completely
Dude,
different look.
yeah. I mean, you take the
Yeah, so
hat off and you
I
look
went the white
totally.
look, and then it just changed. But yeah, when I took the hat off, it just everything
I
stayed to black.
I mean, I can send it over to you if you'd like. It's an easy hat. I'm sorry, wrong direction. Um, but no, no. I mean, all fun intended, obviously, in there. I welcome you. Thank you very much, Barry, for jumping in and
Yes,
filling in. Yeah, I mean, our buddy Juan had some family responsibilities, as
definitely.
we all
Yeah.
do sometimes.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie and say that I didn't have similar responsibilities a couple of weeks ago.
Correct. Correct.
Life happens, and we're very, very happy and want to say thank you very much to joining us. And of course, with everybody joining us on the show, we are your too old. I don't know how to do Juan's intro. This is his spiel usually. They're like two old dudes talking about tech and just kicking it, having fun.
Absolutely.
Trying to doing it coast to coast this time. Actually, coming to
Yes. Yeah.
coast to
Yeah.
coast, west coast to east coast.
Yeah.
Hopefully, good weather. I'm hoping you guys are
It was
doing
good weather, and also I
okay.
had a good nap before for the stream,
Good,
so
good,
I'm
good,
bright
good.
eyed and bushy tailed right now.
Oh, dude, I'm envious of that because I'm actually on the other way. I'm like crashing. It is a little bit different. So, as you can imagine, obviously, there's about a 3 hour difference between Barry and myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, when I say I'm very happy, I'm very, very happy that he's able to join us,
Oh yeah.
as it
Yeah.
is very late for him, which
Yeah.
is not to say that 8 is not late, but it's,
Yeah.
for this
But
old
also,
dude.
we're very people in the chat here, like LaShawn, Jermaine,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
Simon,
exactly.
Ron. We're all happy because I always kind of kid Juan, but your stream and podcast is very important for the community
Oh, no,
to
absolutely.
talk technically about what's going on in the happenings of today. So we really appreciate it.
And there's a lot of interesting stuff that
Correct.
I'll say some of it that was rumored that's starting to materialize, something that came out of left field that I didn't even know. Like till
Yes.
Barry and I were talking before the show, and we're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, did you hear about this thing?" And I'm like, "What?" I like, hold on a second, let me
Yes.
like Google that. And a lot of like NAB's been going on. This is
Correct.
actually a massive show in Vegas. I couldn't make it this year, although it's very close to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just could not just give it enough time. It's a lot of, it's a very near and dear subject to us because we use a lot of the products that are
Correct. Correct.
featured,
Yeah.
tailored. A lot of the companies we work with, like I think if I'm not mistaken, B&H was there,
B&H
Sony
was
was
definitely
there.
there. Yeah, probably Adam Rama was there. Yeah,
Oh,
Sony,
I'm sure.
Panasonic. Yeah, pretty much all of them. Right.
Oh yeah, no, no, and
Yeah.
even Rode, the maker of this
Road. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because it really kind of covers a lot of the conversations, a lot of the tech pieces that we use
Yeah.
that make our life easier. How do we, broadcast, use the microphone, the
Correct.
headphones?
Exactly.
It's the
Yeah. So
behind.
we don't normally think of it, right? So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
National Association of Broadcasters is an event that we might not, as tech YouTubers or follower of smartphones, will think about, but a lot of things are introduced. So I was kind of mentioning to TK
Mhm.
backstage, the Panasonic 2X, it's a great camera, right?
Yeah,
The Sony A7 IV
yeah,
is an excellent camera, right? And
absolutely.
there's still some shortcomings on the 2X side or the Lumix side
Mhm.
with respect to autofocus, right? And at the NAB show, they introduced the new firmware that
Okay.
added a lot more enhancements to subject detection. Also, if you're a creator and you
Mhm.
buy a 2X, so not a broadcaster, but it will help a broadcaster, it added proxy recording. So the recording that you're actually,
Okay.
editing with is less wear and tear on your system. You
System.
can
Yeah.
send it off to someone else, like if you have a co-collaborator or a co-editor.
I.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, yeah.
then it's much easier to process this stuff, and then you also have a save of the raw file. So it's pretty cool.
It's something like that is such a. It's like it's a it's something that I've been dealing with for months now. Actually, working with proxy files and working with somebody remotely and trying to get things transferred. Especially, not to say that I don't have high speed internet here, but 40 megabits up when I'm transferring like 2 to 3, maybe 5 gigs worth of files, it takes a while. It is
Hmm.
not as fast as we wanted. So
Correct.
I rely heavily on Handbrake to try
Yeah.
to shrink the size of my files just so to make them
Correct.
transferable and I don't have to spend hours waiting.
Oh yeah.
but having it done on device,
Yes.
like that is freaking
Oh
okay.
yeah.
That is definitely a feature that I personally would appreciate,
Yes.
especially when it's done and you just when you transfer your content, you're like, okay, this goes to this person, this
Correct.
stays here.
Oh yeah.
You get the project back, you load it up with the original files,
Mm-hmm.
and then bam, you're back in the game,
Yes.
saving bits and bytes all over the internet. So
Absolutely.
we let other people, stream and do everything they want to do without
Correct.
slowing them down.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, I think we can kick it off a little bit and maybe
Okay.
just focus up on NAB a little bit because I feel like as you said, I think for me it's more of the we don't think about it, right?
Correct.
We only deal with it when we're setting it up or when we're lacking
Correct.
something, and then once
Yes.
it's up, it's just
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Like the setup that I have right now is
Same here.
probably there's so many more things they probably announced there. But so Lumix was one of the ones that was interesting on your side. I know Sony
Correct.
was there talking a lot about their broadcast technologies,
Correct.
things that we've seen. Rode did also feature some of their new, obviously their microphones, their setup. I think if I'm not mistaken, Elgato had some
Yeah.
really
Elgato's
cool.
here.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, yeah, Elgato's
Yeah.
set up with. I saw the video. I didn't get a chance to see stuff on the show floor, but at least from what I saw on their Twitter or X, it was such easy setup, easy access, clear audio, conferencing,
Correct.
communicating with people. And I think they showed it as a demo of somebody being interviewed, like
Yes.
jumping in on an interview or something like that. So those are cool techs. But like other than Sony, what kind of sparked your interest as far as like some of the announcements or?
So, just on a personal note,
Yeah.
it's about time that I'm gonna start branching off to do more photography, like more for comparison
Mhm.
sake with my smartphones and the actual mirrorless cameras.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of lens announcements, a lot of primes. So Zeiss came out with a line of primes there at
Mhm.
NAB,
Sony,
which
I
I
think,
wasn't expecting. Yeah, and
announced a
Sony,
couple
yes,
as
Sony
well.
had
Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting that because I was like, man, I'm not sure how this would fit on the broadcast side, but I'm like from on the consumer side.
Mhm.
Thank you, Sony and Zeiss. So those kind of things were kind of exciting.
Yeah, for me, I saw the announcement, and then of course Sony starts sending out emails, and they're like, "Hey, would you like to pre-order?" and all that. And my pocket started feeling heavy. I'm like, "No," actually, more like light on the other side. I was like, "I don't think it's like it
Yeah.
wants to handle." So I don't have the A7 IV. I did end up going with the A7C C2, I think, the
Okay.
compact version, which
Yeah.
essentially is
Yeah.
A7
It's the
IV.
A7 IV, correct?
Yeah, they basically made it compact.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the time of the announcement for that late last year, I bought the lens that they came out with. So I've been very happy
Mhm.
with Sony lenses.
Yeah.
It wasn't as interesting to me as I don't do a lot of bokeh or a lot of portrait photography as much as I think a lot of people may want to. So I feel like it's more on the production side, maybe, or somebody that does basically more photography focus. But I did notice there was a lot of good information as far as like their new updates,
Correct.
cameras. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think B&H featured a whole bunch of different people, different setup. They had a live
Correct.
studio there for
Yeah.
shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just
And I know, like for instance, I was really happy to see it. I'm not sure how many camera channels you follow, but Caleb from DLSR Shooter that recently quit. A couple of months ago, he's like, "Hey, I'm done with YouTube." He was doing a collaboration with Small Rig.
oh,
So, and it was on
big fan of
there's
their
the new
fan of their stuff here. It's all over
exactly
there.
same. It's funny. I've got selling the Shun. I was actually trying to sell him one of my lights because I'm using all Small Rig lights now.
Yeah.
So they came out with a battery, V-mount battery that attaches to their lights, attaches to plates and stuff like that to power your cameras.
Okay,
But
yeah.
they had come out with another one. It's called the 212. So it's extremely high performance. It's longer lasting or whatever. So they have a series now that can travel with you on planes. And then if you need a little bit more, you have the 212. So he dropped a video on it, and he was like, "Hey, this is due to the collaboration that we had with Small Rig."
Nice.
And Gerald also, he goes, "Hey, man, I would love to just beat this up, but I couldn't even if I wanted to beat this product up because my buddy Caleb collaborated with Small Rig." So it was nice to see.
It's always nice to see, especially if creator that you're a fan with, and
Yes.
just even collaborating with a brand that you're a big fan of.
Yes,
Like, we all
correct.
know Small Rig. If you own a
Oh, yeah.
camera,
Oh, yeah.
DSLR, you probably have
You
not only
probably have.
seen them or landed on their page
Yep,
somehow.
exactly.
So yeah, no. From a gear standpoint, absolutely. I haven't shifted to a lot of the mini lights. I do have a portable setup that I take with me that does feature like a portable light with the camera, but it's mostly what I use the A7C for because it's lighter from a body standpoint. Although the lens that I bought ended up basically it was too heavy of a lens to make the entire setup super light.
Yeah.
I didn't
Correct.
go with like a pancake lens. I went with like a beefy one.
Beefy one. Yeah.
Yeah, it just you have to. Yeah, you have a full 1-inch sensor there. You want to take the full advantage.
You want to take advantage. Exactly.
And
yeah.
I need it to be a little bit versatile whenever we're at a show or event, or even if I'm just setting it up like this in a hotel or something. I want it to give me the best experience. So
Correct.
I was excited for that. But I do want to share real quick something that
Okay. All right.
out of the blue, and I'll say out of the blue because I wasn't expecting it. The folks over at Rode, we talked about that they were talking about showing up their microphones. They did show. Actually, it's surprisingly, not that it's new, but I've done a video on this. So they showed the Wireless Go Pro mic system with the 32 floating recording on.
Yes.
on it.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, I think new wireless microphones. But the new thing that I wasn't surprised to kind of see was this type of technology, which is, okay, Sony decides to focus on this. Take a look. So this is a magnetic mount. It is designed to be MagSafe compatible, as you can see here. Now they're showing it with an iPhone, but you can absolutely use any phone if TK ever comes back out of focus that support MagSafe. And here's what I really liked about it. It's so versatile, and it starts off basically with the puck. You get the puck. You say, let's say, what I want to do. Do I want to mount this on a tripod? Absolutely. Okay, here's a tripod mount. Put it on. It's a tripod, and it mounts now to the tripod.
Perfect.
Do you want to add a light? Do you feel like you want a light? Yes, TK, I want to add a light. And now I have a light mount on the side. Obviously, it's a cold shoe. There's no connection there. But did you want to also maybe add a microphone? Because that could be something that somebody wants to use. And right there. So it's more of a customizable and I'll let this thing focus again.
I like that, especially when we do, because a lot of our work, whether it's B-roll or if we're doing like some A-roll at shows and all that stuff, is with a phone.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I think I've switched to a substantial amount of photography from my smartphones.
Yes.
From using the Vivo X100 Pro has been
solid, such a great.
Solid, oh my God. Switching over to the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, photography from that phone has been second to none for me. Like I've taken pictures with that, and I'm like, wow. Makes my nothing. Not that I'm trying to bag on anything, but like it makes my S24 Ultra look like, where are you, man?
Oh yeah.
Seriously, the quality. So to be able to mount a phone, obviously I'm going to use an iPhone because I don't have my MagSafe on any of my other phones. But essentially, is you just mount it, you use it the way you want it.
Correct. Have your tripod ready. That's perfect.
We're talking massively strong magnet.
Yeah, I was shocked when Rode did that, and just seeing the functionality, I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
It is crazy. I like what they do for audio, and I've always been a big fan of with their solution. Again, I use them every week on the podcast with the mics. All my videos are recorded with either the wireless 2 and the
wireless 2. Yeah, correct. So I've been waiting. So Juan had told me pick up the Rode, but I've been waiting for the Pro. So that's what I'm gonna go with.
The Pro, Pro substantially. I mean, especially if you care about the bitrate and the quality of the audio that you're getting. I mean, the 2 works perfect. Again, all my videos are recorded with the 2, but whenever I travel, I like the fact that it plugs easily to, let's say, something like the DJI Pocket. This is very easy, very simple. Over USB-C, recognizes it right away, and your conversations are easier. They're clear. You have backup audio, and you're able to customize the entire thing. Even on mobile now, they've given us so much more control with the mobile app. But the other thing, just before, and see if Sony likes this one. Nope. Okay, this is consistent now. Sony.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So this one is a cage. So this one is a little bit easier, more format. Like I say, it's more of a familiar format.
Correct.
We've seen them before. We just talked about small rig.
Yeah.
Again,
but it's nice. You can add a microphone. It's got like a cold shoe there, and you just hold it and can
pre-assembled. It's ready to go.
Yep.
Nothing to do other than insert your smartphone.
MagSafe. Yeah.
Yeah, and so what I like about this also is the fact that you could use this with, let's say, an S24 Ultra, or as long as the case that you have has MagSafe compliance. Yeah. And you can also buy those as accessories, by the way. Most cases are like clear cases. Yeah. You can mount that to the back, and then now your phone is comprised inside of it, and you can mount. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and attachment side to your side, and a mount on the bottom. So this is fully like you can literally
have a compact compact smartphone studio with that thing.
Absolutely. And the nice thing about it is The plate that they're using in here is the exact same plate that we have on the big one. So if you
Mhm.
want to take this and mount extra stuff to it, you can
Yeah.
have you can go have fun
Yeah.
with it if you don't break your iPhone, because that's how we do it.
Mhm.
But yes, sorry.
No,
That
no,
was my
that's good.
quick
That's good.
plug
That's
of
good.
road announcements from
Yeah.
NAB. Surprisingly, although I didn't go to the show, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
but yeah, no. I think overall, if you're interested with NAB, there's more. There is a link in the description as far as some of the announcements from the main website. And of course, share with us in the comments what you guys like. I know we have Jermaine with us that loves photography as well. He's very big.
Yes.
I
And he
have
had this similar experience with you with the S24 Ultra.
yes. Well, so the thing with it is, okay, year over year, I feel like we get a lot of improvements in most companies when they're producing and giving us new technologies.
Correct.
The S23 Ultra for me and the S24 Ultra have been kind of a little bit of a conundrum. I like this S23 Ultra performance a little bit more on the cameras than what we're getting with the S24. Although the S24 is perfectly fine, records really good images. Just I think it still needs a few more software updates to get the calibration of the colors. Like I take pictures
So
with it.
didn't they make a change, TK? Didn't
They
they?
did.
They're trying to go after the iPhone colors now. Is that
They're. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to blur the line,
okay?
right?
They're
But
trying to please two. Like,
y-
yeah, that's
they're
tough.
they're trying to make it so that if somebody from an iPhone side comes in, looks at it and says, "This kind of looks the same like my phone," like I didn't know Android took good pictures, but they wanted to kind of bring that whole synergy of like, well, we both take great pictures, we both do
Mhm.
well. You know what I mean? There's no one better than the other, as opposed to trying to say we're better, because at that point, you get the defensiveness going on once you start going in one side and say this is better than the other.
Yeah.
Um, not to say that I don't like it. I just personally prefer the color science or the color profiles that Vivo and Xiaomi have been using for the last couple of years.
Yes, they've done it. I love it.
So for
Yeah.
me, like I'll say this on video with autofocusing and color, Vivo's been knocking it out of the park for me. Like
Yeah.
seriously, I
Yeah.
know exactly how it's going to perform.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for Xiaomi, for me, it's been getting more updates, and I love the photography. The still photography from Xiaomi right now for me is the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're able to fine tune exactly what you want to shoot, but that step aperture control that you're able to do more than the 13 Ultra.
Hmm.
Although I'm sure Jermaine will jump in and say the sharpening may be a concern.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't like the
No, no, no.
sharpening. But yeah. Yeah. But that's all personal
Yeah.
preference. You know.
No, no, I know,
So
and
yeah.
it's just I'll say that it's fun to be able to play with this.
Oh,
Tech.
it really is. Like so right now, like
Yeah.
for me,
Mhm.
I'm going back and forth with Oppo, and I'm probably going to be hunkering down on Vivo. So Oppo, to me, it feels just like a OnePlus Premium. I can use it just like a US phone. So as the phone as a whole, I just love it. And I'm looking at the Vivo X100 Pro Plus, and I'll decide like when it comes out,
Yeah.
is the new sensor technology they're going to be what draws me, or will I just pick up a Pro, just a plain Pro? Because I really like what Vivo is doing. And also what I like about Vivo is it just seems like they're getting stronger and stronger each year at just point and shoot, almost like what the Pixel does, where it's like, all right, I know I got the right picture. It might not be someone's favorite, but I know I captured what I was seeing there,
It's the true to color too. That's the other
Yes.
thing for me is when you take the image and you look at the display and then you're looking at the subject that you just took a picture
Yeah.
of. On Xiaomi, we're going with even with Leica Authentic. It
Correct.
truly is representing
Yeah.
exactly what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So that the memory doesn't get distorted, because it's
Yes.
hard to explain for people like what you remember the event was may not necessarily be the exact remembering of what the event was.
Correct.
And emotional effect play a big factor in how we remember things. If it was a fun event, I promise you everything was brighter and colorful and everything was there. And obviously if the tone was a little bit more somber, it may play a little bit into it. I like to be able to capture content in its true beauty. And when I did my camera comparison, all three, the Find X7 Ultra, the Vivo X100 Pro, and the Xiaomi 14 Ultra, all performed very well.
Yeah,
Slightly
they're
different,
correct. They were slightly different, but yeah, they perform well.
but
Yeah.
they're able to knock it out of the park, and I think
Yeah.
that's what I appreciate. I think again, as a camera enthusiast, as you would say, you understand that it's the tool that helps you translate.
Correct.
But it needs to work the way you need it. And again, I use the S24 Ultra. I like it. When it comes to photography, I do. gravitate. Like
Yeah.
when I did my video on the Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus,
Mhm.
in a lot of the clips when you see me holding the phone and there's a reflection, all you see is the orange
Is
ring.
yes,
There's
yeah,
the
yeah,
orange ring.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
if you
yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
you gotta understand. Yeah, I
And
like that
last
whole
year
thing.
it was the a lot of times it was the Fine X6
That's it.
six,
Find X6 Pro.
Pro.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
You would see the ring.
yeah.
Dude, I took that with me when I went to Korea with Samsung.
Hmm.
'Cause I didn't bring my Sony. I went in there and I was the only one holding a Find X6 Pro,
That's funny.
shooting all the shots. And so
Yeah.
in my coverage, my the not the review stuff, but like it was more the like
Like
the
it
Samsung
was
before.
the like as the show was going on, yeah,
Yeah,
you could see the reflection of the
exactly. You could see the dude brings in an Oppo to shoot a
a
Samsung.
Samsung of it.
It
That
was
was
just
funny.
I got a few look. No, I got a few people coming up to me. It's like, dude, what phone is that? Because
Okay.
it has a leather back, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
it has a unique.
Yeah, yeah. It still has a unique I like I yeah, it has a
Yeah,
unique
it's a very unique look. It's
yeah,
hard to miss.
yeah.
That was about the only thing that kind of bummed me out this year when they came out with the 7 Ultra. It does have the leather back, but the case they include in the box didn't have that.
Yeah.
So if you like to put a case on it, it was hard to kind of to let people know. But the reason why I was looking behind me is because I ended up finding a case that does that
Oh,
exactly,
wow,
and
okay.
Sony likes it. So yeah,
Yes, okay,
it's
that yeah, it does look yeah, yeah,
so
exactly.
you would still see TK with a ring in front, and you're like,
Yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah,
what you're
yeah.
doing.
That's
It's
funny.
a beautiful phone. No, I really, I'm with you. It
Yeah. Like
the
as a phone, that's what really kicked me into it. I
Yeah.
love the haptics. I love the ergonomics of the phone.
Mhm.
I love the OS, and you've done a lot of details on Color OS, but I really enjoy Color OS. Not that Fun Touch is bad. I really like Origin
Or
OS,
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
but like I said, the Oppo for me is just like me going between my Pixel, OnePlus, and my Oppo. It's just
They've
seamless.
done a decent they've done a substantial job to, I'm not gonna say blur the lines, but essentially they've incorporated so well with Oxygen that
Hmm.
it's easy to transition between the two. Like the minor changes that are unique to OnePlus and unique to Oppo are so few and far apart now because we've carried over even the slider, like the alert sliders on here, right? Like Oppo is learning from OnePlus, and I like that.
Yes.
But it also because ever since they went from like I think ColorOS 7 to 11, that big jump in numbers,
Yeah.
it was a substantial revamp, a more focus into smooth animation, better performance.
Hmm.
We no longer had that. I'm not going to say bloated, but more so bogged down UI that we got with those, and that's what I appreciate about it. And it's been building on it year over year. Literally, about the only thing that I'm missing on is a couple of things I'll probably say is I want them to bring in a desktop mode.
Yes,
Legit
I
focus
agree.
on we
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
have that. You
Correct.
give us video. And the
Correct.
other thing I want them to give me live video wallpaper natively supported.
Yes.
'Cause I personally love Dragon
Yes.
Ball. I want to be able to put
Yeah.
Dragon Ball videos on
And
all
put
my
it right
phones.
there. Exactly.
And right now, about the only way to do that is to use TikTok's wallpaper hack
Yes.
mod.
Yes.
But Samsung doesn't like that. Every time I restart my phone, Samsung nukes it. I have
Oh
to restart it.
wow. Okay.
It's
Yeah.
proprietary.
One thing, not to just keep going down that subject, but one thing
No, no.
that bothers me about Samsung
Mhm,
is the fact that like I switch sims a lot.
mhm.
So let's say if I'm on my T-Mobile sim and I'm like, oh, I need to switch to my Verizon sim or whatever that's in this other phone.
Yeah.
It has to reboot, then it has to load like Verizon, a couple of the apps or what have you, and it does
Yeah.
that every time. Like, why?
I I feel like it's an agreement.
I think it's an agreement
It
between the
has to be.
carriers and
It has
Samsung.
yeah. No,
You
it's
know?
if you set up your Pixel does the same. If you set up your Pixel brand new with a SIM card from a specific
Mhm.
carrier, it will try to auto download the carrier's default app, like
Correct.
AT&T's My App or whatever, and
Hmm.
T-Mobile's and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And personally, I feel like, okay, look, I bought an unlocked phone for a reason,
Thank you.
right?
That like I could see if I bought a carrier phone,
Yeah,
but when I'm buying
absolutely.
unlocked, it's like,
Yeah,
come on,
like,
you know.
I didn't want the apps to be
Yeah.
installed. I know. But the only saving grace of that is I feel like it's that they're not system apps anymore because they're
Yeah.
downloaded.
Yeah.
But still downloading them and, like, putting them on the phone, like, come on, dude. Like, we went through I know, I'm with you. Samsung does that, and I think very few other companies do that where they require the phone to restart because it's more of a registering on the network and allowing it to reboot and start off with the SIM
Hmm.
card in. And if you switch the SIM, it doesn't do it when you take the SIM out, but it does it when you put in a new SIM,
New sim.
especially if
Correct.
it's not the
Yeah.
SIM that it booted up with.
Correct.
That is,
Yeah.
little things, right? Like a
It's
little,
little things. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
So that,
for sure. So I see here Sebastian's with us in here. We see, oh man, is that Gwendolyn? Oh, Gwendolyn
yeah,
G is in there.
Gwendolyn's it. Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Oh man, of course. And then Michael Peppertech. Hey
Yeah.
guys,
He
hope you're
joined up.
doing
Yep.
good. But yeah, so I'm seeing some people starting to talk obviously about the Nothing phone, but yeah. So actually, speaking of which, before I forget, which Find X are you using that you're using right now? It's still the 7, or are you still on the
I'm,
6?
no, I'm using the 7 Ultra. I'm actually about to drop my first video on that because I like the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying the camera, like,
Mm-hmm.
but as a whole, so much that I was like, was kind of thinking about what I was going to start doing on YouTube.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be kind of uncertain my direction starting this year,
Mm-hmm.
and my thoughts of this is the best slab that I've ever used. So like, still to this day, my favorite slab, I'm talking about an overall phone.
Okay.
It might sound weird, is the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. Just
I
as a total, like I just use it, the haptics,
mm-hmm.
the ergonomics, and like there are features that I like better on a Pixel. There's features I like better on a Xiaomi and all that stuff. But just as a phone, it's been my favorite. So I wanted to give that time before I started doing videos. So I wasn't the guy that, oh, you've had this for a week, you've had this for 2 weeks, and this is your favorite slab ever.
No, you have to live with it. You have to truly, and
Yes,
also maybe again, and it sounds maybe corny. Wait for a couple of updates.
yes,
Get like I'll say this. Have you tried the Magic Eraser on not
yeah,
Google's Magic
yeah,
Eraser, but
but yeah,
Oppo's
there,
Magic
yeah,
Eraser?
yeah.
That is freaking
It
crazy.
really is. Yeah, it
I
really
saw
is.
that at MWC and I was like, wait a minute. I'm like,
Yes,
first thing I asked, I said, when will this come to my unit? He
yeah.
said, well, we don't know, whatever. By the time I was back from there, it was downloaded,
It was
installed,
downloaded.
and I was like,
Yes,
this is crazy. And
yes.
this is on device.
On device,
This
not
is not
yes.
cloud. We're
Correct.
talking true AI stuff. Like this is
Correct.
like everybody talks about AI,
Yeah.
this AI that. But the reality is, till you have it in your hand, till you have it in your
Correct.
device, on your device, and you can use it,
Yeah.
it's crazy. But yes, no. So actually, if there was a couple of things also that Oppo and OnePlus are trying to bring in, they're trying to bring in Gemini. So Gemini, I think Ultra, the Ultra model is good. Basically, they're trying to harness some of that to bring into mobile technology. So we're going to start seeing some AI functions built in, more Google
Yeah.
powered
I
AI
like that.
on
I like
devices,
that. I like that.
and I'm excited for that. I want to
Yeah.
see more.
Yeah.
Like the current version of Gemini on our smartphone is okay,
It's
and
okay.
because it's a mishmash, right?
Yes.
It's not Google Assistant and the way the
No.
assistant works.
Correct.
It's really Bard 2.0 at a la
Yes.
Gemini.
Taking over for the assistant.
Yeah,
Correct.
but it doesn't carry everything from the
It
assistant. So
doesn't.
you feel like
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that's like, oh, I don't do that now. You do you want to switch assistants? I'm like,
yeah, but it's popping up on more devices. Like
correct.
on the Redmi, it popped up. Now, obviously on the Oppo, it doesn't because there's no Google services
Yeah.
there. But like on the Phone 2, and I think Michael Peppertech was talking about the Phone 2a that he was getting a chance to check out as well.
Mhm.
Those are little things that I appreciate. I'll say that
Yeah.
it's where like tech is improving, but I want to see
Correct.
more functional, and that way I feel like that'll be a perfect segue if we can start talking about the Nothing conversation, because
Correct.
Nothing is trying to do the same thing. Nothing's trying to
Yes.
bring in AI
Yeah.
into on earbuds, like first to try to bring that in, and even integrated at the OS level with the Phone 2a. I think as of the update hasn't pushed. I've been hitting update on my phone ever since
Yeah.
they
To get it.
mentioned
Yeah.
but they held an announcement. There was an event, I guess, a launch event in Japan, of all places. I would have loved to go to Japan. That would have been nice.
That would have been cool.
But yeah, no, they announced it, and then obviously we talked about the Phone 2a phone, but then they also announced a couple of buds that
Yes.
I fixed the colors. I put them back the way they're supposed to.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I got a few people telling me do not cross the stream.
Do not cross the stream.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I understand. It was a faux pas, but I felt like everybody and their mom was going to be posting a picture of those two pair of buds in their own independent colors. What can I make it so that it makes you at least look twice? Change the bud, just change the ear tips.
Yep.
It's a color.
Yeah.
It's a color. But I don't. Have you used any of the Nothing devices? Have you
Oh
had
yeah,
any
I've used,
experience?
yeah. So I had the original Nothing phone,
Okay.
and I probably will pick up the Nothing phone, the not the A series, but the
Mhm.
Nothing this year. I skipped last year.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had the Nothing phone one, loved it. And just so you know, the Essential phone,
Oh
and this is
man.
for everybody here, the Essential
Yeah. Yeah.
phone and the what I call the Essential phone two, the Nothing phone one.
Yeah.
Those the ringtones from that phone and the Essential phone are the only ones I use on all of my smartphones. And it was the first phone after years that I would like any of the stock ones, whether it's Samsung or I get rid of them and I
Mhm.
put the Essential. And then once I got the Nothing phone, I
Mhm.
grab that. So
It's always nice to when you find that
that
the
little,
sound. Yeah.
yeah,
Especially when you're able to carry it over from one device to the other. No. No.
correct,
I'm with you.
yeah.
Um the
But
phone
but as a
2A is.
whole, functionally, I
Mhm.
love the what Carl did with the little tweaks to stock Android. I really think he did a good job. And what was cool, and I'm itching to try it, that he gives you a choice now. Like, do you want to be in Nothing World or you want to look more like stock Android at the beginning? So,
Yeah, when you're
yeah,
setting it up,
correct.
you're able to pick your the blue pill or the red
You
pill.
the both, yep.
Yeah, pick a direction, my friend. And no, I think to a certain point, we lost that type of experience with a lot of other manufacturers, right?
Correct.
Um, OnePlus was and is a success story in many ways if we think about how they came about and where they are now and what they're doing. And to a certain point, that's what they used to champion. And then Oxygen OS became more and more. It got
Correct.
merged into Color OS, and again, it's at a really good place, but
Yep.
it's no longer what it used to be. And I feel like Nothing is coming in with that call to not only provide us the experience, but their software has been getting better and better over time. Their cameras are getting much better.
Correct.
2A, seriously, for the price point that they're shooting
It's it's
for,
it's pretty good.
it's a phenomenal phone. It's
Yes.
hard to mess with, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you're getting great technology. You're getting the glyph interface again.
Yes.
Scaled down, but it's still like I'll say this:
I know the glyph is not for everyone, but
it
I
isn't.
really think it's really so. I like to give you an example when I
Yeah.
would use iPhones, or if I had other people that were kind of like absent-minded when it came to their phones, I would set up the accessibility so when they got a notification, it just kind of went crazy.
Mhm.
That's what I was doing with my Nothing phone. I was like, I'm not worried about offending anyone if like I've got flashing lights, but this helps me see it from across the room or what have you, so I'm getting good use out of it. And also I think what Carl's doing by constantly thinking of what are some smart things like an alarm clock timer, stop, that is adding functionality to something that many could view as gimmicky when it first came out.
I rely heavily on the Uber function, telling me when the
Oh
Uber
yeah,
car
when it's, yes, that is,
as it fills up as the driver is getting close to you, so you don't have to keep picking it up and checking. I used it quite a bit when I was traveling in London, and it just because you want something more visual. There's too much noise. There's too many things going on. And surprisingly, sometimes vibration motor don't work as well when you're outside and your attention is focused on everything else.
mm,
Visual is always going to be the best attention grabbing concept. But yeah, no, for me, the Nothing Ear and the Ear Two, sorry, the
yes,
Ear A, naming aside, because
yes,
I watched my video again, I butchered that name.
it,
I called them ears,
yeah,
and I went back and forth.
yeah,
I think it's because they used to be called. So I think initially we started was it the Nothing Ear like one. Then we had the Stick, right? That came out after, and then they came out with the Ear two, which I still have, and now they have Ear and then Ear A.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like
yeah,
Ear, yeah. So the two that are coming out that just announced, I mean, the embargo lifted on them like early this morning, but the announcement was made. Are for the lack of a better term, I'll say this. They built on what the Ear 2 were well known for, the better audio profile, the better drivers, the control for bass and EQ on them. And they give us better battery life, but they give us additional features and better audio options.
correct,
But in many ways, they're very similar.
yeah,
It's hard to fault one over the other just because there's a $50 difference.
yeah, yeah,
And I tried to explain that in the video that I
yeah,
tried to
yeah,
put together
yeah,
because at their core, they look very similar. And if you have them in your ear, nobody's going to know which one is which other than
Which
the
one is
color.
which?
If you know
Yeah.
the orange one, but like on the mic test, they sounded absolutely the same.
Yes.
The
Yes.
voice technology that they had
Yes.
in there cancels anything behind you.
Hmm.
It's focused on you. It's clear. Like the whole time I was recording that audio outside, there was a lot of birds chirping
Yeah.
above me, and I
Yeah.
was like I was worried.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
listened to my audio. I was like,
You're
nope,
like, man, are
nope.
people going to believe this test?
Yeah, like because no, I've done audio tests before, and I've
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
criticism. I think it was a video on Anchor. Anchor's audio it was like a conferencing solution, and people were bugged that I took them outside and it was raining. It was one of those days when we had a lot of rain,
Hmm.
but it was a lot of rain. Like you could not ignore the rain behind me. Like if I recorded the clip without the audio technology, you'd be like, "Dude's taking a swim." Like there's no way. And turn it on, and it just killed all of that noise. And I was like, "That's the level I'm saying." I mean, obviously,
Wow.
but this audio is really good. So
Yeah.
I'll say
And they had levels of the new one has levels
mhm,
of noise canceling. Yeah.
noise
So
cancel and also levels of bass focus and bass
correct.
level if you want to
Yeah.
increase
Yeah.
the bass
Yeah.
on top of an EQ. A lot of other things. I mean, there's a lot more things. I
Yeah.
put the
Yeah.
link in the description for anybody
Yeah.
that'd love to check that out. But
But
it's
it's good to know that, like, even though with all that said, with some of those added things, they're about, you kind of feel like they're similar, enough
they're
that,
very. I would probably say is it's a very fine line of what you're looking for, and I think
yeah,
probably wireless charging and LHCC. If you want something a
correct.
little bit different as far as the audio codec and you want to be able to push it, yes, there are definitely a big difference there. But the battery life on the 2A is seriously legit. Like this
Yes.
is what I've wanted them to be, and the audio is on it very nice. They're small, they're
Yeah.
light, they're unique. I like the color; it pops.
Yeah.
And but they still hold over that techno look, see-through color
Yes, that
kind of
see-through.
thing.
Yep, the
No,
transparent. That.
yeah, no,
Yep,
but
he
that
is. Yes, and that's one thing that's
exactly
cool. He's
like
sticking with that.
yeah, like when you go with okay, again, Sony doesn't want to focus on super fingerprint. That
Mm.
is dirty. Sorry. Take the case off. So here, okay, this was a little bit better. Let's see. Can we do it? Yeah.
Yep,
So that whole see-through function that we get,
correct.
it is seriously like I like that. So
I do too. It's really
it's
cool.
an easy recommendation for
Yeah.
anybody, in my opinion, at least, that's looking for a new pair of buds, and or considering maybe getting an extra pair for a family or a friend member or something like that. It is really nice. And again, I want to say thanks to Nothing for allowing me to check them out. So a lot of audio stuff, but I know that you're wearing some really good cans on your ears right now. But
They're decent cans. These are more. The reason why I'm wearing these Sonys roll off of the highs,
okay,
and when I started live streaming, not everybody's audio is that great. And when you all together, because I just didn't want something super high quality, but I do have high quality Sonys and other high.
well, so the lead in that I was trying to lead
You
into
go
is what's your personal preference? Over the ear, on
over the ear,
ear, in ear,
over the ear,
over the ear,
every day. Yeah,
wireless or wired, or do you have?
wired is still my preference.
I
Yes.
well the best audio quality. Yeah,
Yeah, the best
straight
audio.
to the point.
I'm unfortunately I'm an audiophile, so El Jefe and Juan have had to pull me out of that arena, and they've actually convinced me, and I watch your videos.
Dude,
So I
I
actually
will
have
say I'm a
wireless.
convert on that one as well. Juan
Yes. Oh, so
practically
you're,
told
yes, yeah. Oh,
me,
yeah,
bro,
yeah.
seriously,
And
I
it's
am
funny too, because it's like Juan is telling me about planar and all. Hey, you want to try these planar? But then you're telling me that these lower quality Bluetooth, so now I have Sony XM5s, over the ear wireless Bluetooth. I love them. I use them all the time.
my office
Yeah.
ones. I'm still using my XM3s at the office because I have an extra pair, so I have those in there. They're perfect,
Yes.
comfortable, easy to wear,
Correct.
extended. The thing is, there's a pair of audio gear for different scenarios depending where you are. If you're on the go, obviously you want something a little bit more portable. You want
Correct.
something that can manage your a longer wear time. That's the easy way to explain it. These absolutely one of the most comfortable headphones I've had. Audio levels very nice, plugs and works great as long as I have the hardware to drive it, like an
Yes.
external DAC or portable, like not the Thunder. Man, like the portable USB-C DACs that we've seen
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
We've covered
Correct.
I
Mhm.
forget the name. I'm sure it's gonna jump at me, and I'm gonna basically kick myself for not remembering it. Where is it? Oh yeah, the Helm Audio. How do I not?
Helm audio. Okay.
I was
All
going with
right.
the
Yeah.
Volt. Sorry,
Yeah.
Helm,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have it. It was at my hands.
Yeah.
I have it connected to one of my IEMs for video
Mhm.
edit. when I travel on my Mac, I like to listen very closely, and
Yeah.
nothing like an IEM in ear to kind
Yeah.
of just cancel out and just put you
Correct.
in that zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, depends on what you're using. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, okay, but over the ear, nice wired on
Yeah.
there. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. That's how I
'Cause
edit all my videos is typically with over the ear headphones.
well, that's the best way. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I think open ear, like open back is a little bit harder when you're trying to edit because you can't
Mhm.
really, you can't cancel out the outside noise, obviously.
Correct.
So, but for music listening, Juan got me converted to open back on that. That is crazy
Oh, it's crazy good.
till you try it and
Yeah.
you're like, wait a minute, it's actually better, and
It's
you're
better.
able
You
to
wouldn't think it was, but yeah, it's
well,
better.
because
Like
you
it
think there's so
for,
much more noise, right? You're like,
yeah,
it's gonna
so
be distracting, but it's
uh,
yeah.
unless I really use a really high-end closed
Mhm.
music will always have until like I've listened for a few minutes, it will always when I put it on have almost like a muffled sound to it where the open I never get that, you know. So if I'm in the right environment where I can enjoy open,
Yeah.
I always go with open.
It depends on the environment. You need to be a
Correct.
little bit more selective where you're listening to
Yes,
it.
true.
Yeah. On the
You don't want to
subway
be
or
at the
on the bus.
office, you know,
Yeah,
yeah, or the
exactly.
bus.
Where your office mate is like,
Yeah,
"Dude, I like the tune," but
yeah.
like, could you like
And
change
you
it?
wouldn't fly with an open headphone. You're just
No.
like, I can't hear anything. I can't hear
Yeah,
my
yeah.
music. You know, all I
You're
hear is the plane
no,
noise. So
no,
yeah.
yeah, and your neighbors are like, "What is that hissing noise?"
Yes,
No, no, no,
exactly.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it gets me every time, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the reason I kind of lead it into that because
Yeah.
I also saw that you posted a video recently on some soundcore
Yes.
tech,
Yes.
which I happen
Yeah.
to be a big fan of. So yes,
Oh, yes.
so yeah,
So, yeah. So I'm, that's another thing. So El Jefe will hit me up because he knows what I think about, you know, with regular speakers. So,
hmm
he'll always be like, hey, this is the one to buy. This is the one to get or what have you. Try this out. So I bought the Soundcore Motion 300,
hmm
the little portable speaker, and then the replacement for the original Motion Boom. I
motion, yeah.
got the Boom 2, and I love that speaker. Like, obviously, it's not audiophile grade,
No, 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 yeah,
but but if I'm not turning off, if I can actually enjoy music and just enjoy the music, that's a win for me,
yeah.
right? Because that's the type of person I am. If the speakers aren't audiophile speakers, a lot of time I just turn them off. It's sort of like the way I kind of liken it is phones with bad haptics. When I start to use them, I can like the phone, but if they have bad haptics, they're off probably within a
It,
couple hours.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
it's a minor thing, but it builds
Minor
up.
things.
Yeah,
It
it builds up
builds up,
eventually. Yeah,
right? So yeah, really have enjoyed that. I need to see if Soundcore is going to do an update because I would like to have two of them,
hmm
but I've heard from some people that there's a slight delay when using two,
hmm
so the stereo effect is not as pronounced. So I'm hoping they get that fixed with an update, but I would love to have a stereo pair of
I
those.
think, especially when you're looking at portable speakers, you do want to have that little bit more of a fill, like an audio
Correct.
room filling sound.
Yes. Correct.
I say that as again, I can grab everything in front of me. Hold on.
Hmm.
Not that I'm trying to, but like with this type of solution where we got
Yes.
the
Oh, that
new
was a
sound
great speaker. Oh,
and they have surround in them,
yes.
but it still feels like it's coming from one direction, right? Like
Yes.
it fills, but then if the moment you turn, there's the audio still comes from one area. Like you said, having it coming from two specifically, like you said,
Yes.
depending on the room setup,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is going to come down to the wireless tech that they're using, and if there is any latency, it takes away from the
It takes
experience.
me, yes. You get
Um,
the almost the stadium effect,
yeah,
you know,
which
which is a cool effect, but that's not what you want when you're
I was gonna
listening to
say, unless
music
you're
critically.
looking for it,
Yeah,
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, but you wouldn't buy two speakers for that. But no, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure they're coming out with with 2024 edition for everything, and
Correct.
they typically. I'm actually waiting for their in-ear solution. I love a lot of their Soundcore audio. I mean, of all the brands that I've worked with, and I think we were talking about before, I think Sebastian was talking about some of the other ones as well. There's Soundpeat Space, some of them have like longer battery life, and there's also iMores, I think, and one more, sorry, and Sonoflows, the Tozo
Mhm.
HT2, and Soundpeats. There's a lot of options, but Soundcore for me has done so well in the audio space, and I'll say I'm a little bit biased. I like bass heavy audio.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm a trance head. true and through
Yeah,
from
yeah,
since
yeah.
I was a young kid.
LaShawn in the chat right now is the same way. He's like that. He's a bass head. Yeah,
It's basically give me
yeah,
a good beat and give me
yeah.
a nice bass level in there, and
Mhm.
if I want to fill up the room and I want to basically just jam, I want it to
Yeah,
become
and
effective.
Soundcore has delivered that in spades. They have
Absolutely.
delivered that
Oh
experience.
my God. Bluetooth connection, either be it the speaker, over the ear, not on ear, but mostly over the ear and in ear. Absolutely.
Yeah,
They're very close, and I feel like also OnePlus Buds Pro 2, exquisite when it comes to that. They're not, again, I'm not going to say that they're
yeah.
Bose
The
or
OnePlus,
Sony
yeah,
level
but they have
rumble.
that. Yeah, so the OnePlus, typically between those and Soundcore is what I usually get both,
Yeah.
but those are the ones I'm in between all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got the OnePlus Buds Pro, I got the Pro 2, and then I
Mhm.
have all the Soundcores as well. And do I
Well,
need to have them? No, but
no,
but I'm
and
like, they're such a
we
good
still only
deal.
have 2 years each. Yep, we do. Hashtag not sponsored by
Yeah.
Soundcore or by OnePlus, but thank
Yes.
you for
But you know,
joining.
one thing too that was surprising
Mhm.
with Soundcore to me, and I'm not sure if you felt it or people in the chat, right?
Sure.
So they delivered on sound, right? They delivered on sound. But then one of the things, and I hope it continues this way, I hope it wasn't just luck, because just so first of all, like on the Boom 2,
Mhm.
the the lighting and the colors, the overall design was, I thought, very nice, right? But then it even extended to the app, like just using the app, the feedback that you get from the app, the
Mhm.
graphics and all that stuff. It was like, who, like, wait, you really gave this to someone that was paying attention to UI design here. So I appreciated that as well. It wasn't like your typical, hey, we're just doing an app, to give you some extra features that we couldn't put on the buds itself. It's like, no, this was thought out of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think in many ways, I'll probably say it, it contributes to the conversation, but it also contributes to the experience. You
correct.
said it yourself. You hit the nail right there on the head. Haptics are a big part of devices. I mean, I remember back in the early days of OnePlus, we always used to get those questions within the first 2 days of the video. How is the haptic motor?
Have,
Did they
yeah.
fix the haptic motor? Is it a better?
Yes.
Is it reasonable? Like it was. I mean, now nobody asks about them anymore because
No.
it's been basically solid for quite some time. But that used to be a thing that OnePlus was known
Correct.
for.
They
Like
were
it was
known
like,
for it. Yeah.
OnePlus did not have the best haptics back in the
Correct.
old days.
Correct.
So when you say that also, because I caught what's his name Marquez's video where he was talking about the original Razor phone, where that was literally the one thing that drove him crazy. Is like the
Yeah.
phone was great, high refresh rate, great
Yeah.
speakers, but the haptic motor was just
Yeah.
not there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Like it can ruin an experience,
oh,
and that's and instead of me, ruining my experience, I just turn it off because it's
exactly.
like, you know.
Go straight to sound, or just let the watch.
Exactly.
Just no, use the
Yeah.
vibration motor on your watch. Hopefully, you can
Correct.
get some of that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's a tough one, but I want to keep
Yeah.
talking smartphones a little more
Okay. Let's go.
before we get into that nice Google conversation that we're going to talk. That also kind of
Yes.
relates to smartphones, but
It does kind of. Yeah.
it does. But Huawei coming out of left field,
Wow.
where
I,
did that
I was I was I was
like?
stunned when I saw that announcement.
And it's a pure. So I've never heard of them having. I know they have the P series, right? So
That
they've
so
always had
it's
the P
it's
series.
the replacement for the P series. Well, it's
It's
just a
just
rebrand of the P series.
it's Pura now, so it's
So
kind of like
yeah,
going for the Pura.
correct. Yep.
Pura 70 Pro, or I think,
And I think 70 Pro and I think also Ultra. Let me see.
let me see here, because I'm trying to bring up the article. The article that I found was on Reuters, and I don't.
Oh, I'm
I,
not sure if they have that there, if they talked about it there. I knew
hold on,
I
let
can
me
put
see.
in the private chat. There is one
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
by
that's right.
Google.
I always forget that you can you share. Are you able to share? Do
Y-
you have the
I,
share button at the bottom, or
yeah, I could, but I'm just gonna put it in the private chat real quick. That way
sure?
it's so
Oh, this one. Okay, yeah. Hold
yeah,
on. Let
yeah.
me open it up on this side. Bam. I'll bring it up. This kind of came out. Okay, so I'll say this. I'm a big fan of Huawei camera
Yes.
tech
Camera
for
tech.
many years. It's like,
And this is the series where they don't necessarily put their best performing processor. When I say
mhm.
best performing, it's still excellent.
Oh no,
But this is
absolutely.
the one that is the photography focus, right? So
With a moving lens, like
yes,
seriously,
yes.
like are we getting Lumia 5s here at all? Like anybody?
Oh man,
Like Microsoft's like, hello, we did this. No, So we're talking. Okay, here's a few colors looking into them. There's obviously like a bluish, greenish color, purple, and of course the standard silver. Or I'm assuming the white color. There's the oh, there's a Pro Plus.
Yes.
I guess it seems like okay, and oh man, if I'm not mistaken, they're using are they going back to using their Kirin processors, or are they using Qualcomm still?
They're using the Kirin.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
okay, good. Because for
this one,
for
they
a
haven't
while,
announced which one. Yeah, for a while they were
yeah,
going. Yeah.
they were going on Qualcomm 4G tech
Okay.
because they couldn't use the 5G. So let's see a little more. Oh, here some mechanical movement. So this is how oh, there it is. See, the camera
Yeah.
pops, goes
Correct.
up, just to give you a little bit more of that focal depth, so you can get that.
Correct.
Ah, look at that.
Yeah, it's cool. So Michael Pepper is saying they have the 1 terabyte model on GizTop right now for $22.99. You know, they'll always probably inflate it by $300 when it first
Oh, of
comes
course.
out.
Yeah, no, of
But that's
course.
the only model available right now, so you can't even.
So you have to get the top of
You
the
have to
line.
get the top of the
Let me
line.
see here. No, that's just they're going down to pixelated and different else.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say Huawei has to be credited for not only giving us the triple camera configuration, the zoom lenses on the P series. A lot of us use them now, even what Oppo's using when the lenses are mounted sideways to be able to give us that depth, so you can
Correct.
get that depth
Correct.
with the zoom lenses. That's Huawei started
Yeah.
putting those
Yeah.
cameras and devices, and like that is a sexy phone.
Oh, it's beautiful, and not just that, not just the tech.
Yeah,
A lot of the sensors that became really popular in Xiaomi, not the like the 1 inch, but before they had that,
yeah.
those sensors were created by Sony for Huawei.
Oh,
You know, so like on the it was the Xiaomi 12 series. A lot of that
Mhm.
series it was going to be for Huawei branding. So they pushed a lot of the sensor manufacturers to do things that we're all using in our latest phones.
Well, Leica in Huawei had had an
That's right. They had the
exclusivity for a
collaborate.
long time,
Yes,
and there was
correct.
exclusivity for a while.
Yep.
And once that exclusivity expired and Xiaomi jumped in,
Yeah.
I feel like that's when Xiaomi literally
I
elevated their
agree.
camera
That's when they
experience.
elevated.
The way Leica's been able to influence their camera tech
Yeah.
from the standard 14. I mean, I'm going to say that I have had very few experiences where I could say that even the base 14 this year is a legit photography device.
Yeah, that's
You can
great.
seriously enjoy on every aspect. It's a smaller phone if you prefer the size, and it is a capable camera system that it keeps getting better.
Yeah.
Obviously, great processing and everything, but Leica's been doing some great work with Xiaomi, Hasselblad, and Oppo and OnePlus,
Mhm.
taking it out of the water. And of course, you got Zeiss over on
Yeah.
like some really good houses, right? Like it's like a
Yes.
House of Dragons, and every
Yes.
house
Exactly.
has an amazing
And
performer.
and it seems like they're all laser focused on putting out the best product that they can. So that
Yeah.
I appreciate it. You know,
Competition is hot.
it's very hot.
We're still looking at a very subset number of players that are going into the 1 inch sensor type.
Yes.
Leica
And go ahead. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No. I was going to say I was expecting more companies to jump into it. But we're still seeing a lot of people kind of experimenting in like the 200 megapixel, the 180
Yeah.
megapixel. They're going a different route where it's all about light. It's
Yeah,
about
it's
how much
all about light. How much light can you? So
Yeah.
that's what scares me about. A couple of people hit me up. They're like, "Oh, are you excited about the rumor that the Vivo is using the 200 megapixel, the new sensor by Samsung? It's the ISOCELL HP9
Mhm.
that they haven't really covered, but the speculation that it won't be 1 inch." So I'm like, man, so it's not going to have the size and it's going to be 200 megapixel.
It's for me it's
So I'm like, I might just go with the Vivo, the X100. So I'm gonna wait for the samples to come out. I'm like, oh man.
yeah. Well, but they've taken some time too. The reality, I think, last year or even before, the Pro Plus has always come out right
Yes,
after or right
right
before.
after. Yeah, they've taken a long
But this
time.
has been and again, maybe it is, as you said, I mean, based on the camera sec, that they may be waiting a little bit longer to create a separate, like as if it's a brand new line of devices.
Correct.
But
Correct.
my hope is that whichever sensor they go with is that they stick to their color science, and they're able to tune them
Yes.
and give us that experience that we all appreciate about what Vivo has been.
Yeah.
We've gone from this era of Vivo jumping in with this oddball feature,
Correct.
stabilization, gimbal,
Yeah, gimbal and all that stuff.
all of that
Now
stuff.
I agree. They had that. Oh yeah, you rotate your phone, all that stuff, almost like a GoPro.
Yeah, no,
To
and they did
we
that for
want
a
to give
few
you the
years.
best
Yeah,
camera experience. Period. You
and
know
and I
that.
but that's what people are knowing. That's what you don't stumble into these devices. You purposely look them up, and you need to be able to rely on them because most of the time, like when you were talking about Gistop and so on, we're importing these devices. These are not devices that you're able to pick up directly in the US, but they are so good.
Yeah, they're so good,
They're so
and
good.
they're so good, and they're also like we're all tech enthusiasts,
Mhm.
so we're going to generally lean to what's impressing us tech wise. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's always appreciated. But speaking of which, with the Puro 70 Pro, and obviously it is interesting to see. I'm waiting to see some more content. The only videos I was able to find were voiceover videos with some features and some things.
Yeah,
There's no
and
real
and
content.
there's correct, and really we know some features, but we don't know everything. Like we don't know exactly what sensor they're going to be using and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited to see how it plays
The
out.
the effect of that pop. I mean, going back to
Correct.
it reminds me of like that OnePlus 7 Pro. Remember where the camera
Yes,
popped up a little
popped
bit?
up exactly.
Oppo used to do it with the N series where they used to have the shark fin. That was another thing they used to do. But no, it's the fun part of a piece of tech, and the orientation is done correctly. At least from the images we're looking at,
Yeah,
like when you're holding it sideways, the cameras are set up in the right orientation,
correct,
stacked in the right level. They're not sitting in
correct.
a weird,
Yes,
everything parallel so that the focal length changes. So I'm excited. Yeah, and it looks like X image or X image. I'm assuming X image is meaning X image. Looks like the LED light is sitting in there.
correct. Yeah,
And you're gonna get four colors. They're gonna be. Oh, I guess maybe that one's the leather one or something. Because
yeah.
there's
That looks like a leather
finish.
one. I if I were to get one, I'd probably go with the leather
Yeah. Oh, and then these are more of a flat side. So there may be the standard over the Pro
over
Plus
the Pro Plus. Yeah.
1300. That's not a bad deal. I mean, depending on how it comes out, but $2,000 for it. Would you consider a device that hasn't like we first generation device? Would you jump in or would you wait a little bit? How do you? What do you think?
I probably would wait a little bit. Just because it'd be different if it was one of those things where Vivo and Xiaomi and Oppo didn't exist, right? But with
Yeah.
them existing, it's like okay, I can wait a little bit for the price to come down and buy one of those right off the bat.
No, absolutely. But I will say, for me, I know the camera would be great. It's
Yes,
really waiting on the specs to see how they're treating it.
correct.
We've seen quite a bit like I say, Huawei phones have been mostly going with the 1080p resolution display. This is where you were talking about like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
phone
Oh
as an
yeah,
entire
yeah. Correct,
package
correct.
has to speak to you. The cameras are
Yes,
great,
yeah,
but like if the display is running at 1080, but it's
yeah.
not giving us the high refresh rate, or if it is giving us high refresh rate, but we're stuck in at 1080, like I want to be able to enjoy like again at the $1,300 plus value. There are certain things that you
You
expect.
expect. So that's one thing that might lead us into a segue on the Xperia. Some of the rumors to
Yeah, I
that
think
as well.
so. That came out of the blue. Um,
Correct.
Not just because it's an event. Actually, no, sorry. The reason why it came out of the blue for me, at least, it's because it's an event.
Yes.
We haven't had events before.
No,
We've
no.
had
It's the
virtual.
event has been, oh,
Yeah,
yes, TK and Juan have the phone. So we get to find out about it. That's been the
that
event.
that was the event. And I remember like that first year that happened with the Xperia One Mark II. I think it was the two or the three. And Juan and I got a chance to play with the early prototypes, and it was like we were literally one of the only two creators to get access to.
Yes.
Like for some reason, we won the lotto, and it was
Yeah.
it. Um, it but I'll say this in all true honesty, it truly feels that way every time I get a chance to check out a new Sony. The One Mark V has been an absolute champ. I got a chance to check it out. I even visited it again when I went over to Cando last year at the end of the year with Sony. But I'm not going to lie that every year with the improvements that we get with the not only just the processor, you get better technologies, you get better capabilities, but I also want to see what Sony wants. What is Sony's direction for this year?
Correct.
We saw a shift with their camera tech, with their imaging system last year that improved the imaging on the main sensor. Absolutely fantastic. This year, I want to see how can they up the ante? How can they make it better?
Yeah.
And of
Because they
course,
do a lot of things right now. But go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
well, so the thing is, we have to remember this. Okay, so where we kind of started talking about NAB at the beginning of the show
Correct.
and where we are now, the people that are designing the Sony Xperia smartphones now, not in the past, I'm not saying it's a bad experience. I'm
Mhm.
saying it was a different profile. We had different Xperias. These are technical creators. They're designed, and their main focus on designing and building these devices is to provide us a technical or tool that is technically sound and will perform better every time you get the newer version or every time you're using it. And it performs to the level that you want. It's an engineer's perspective of building
Correct.
hardware.
Correct.
And it is crazy. Like when I get to sit down with them and we talk, and I'm like, look, this is how I do my work, and this is where some things I feel like maybe that could help us. And the
Okay.
year later comes in and it's been fixed. Like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
So
So Umar just put in the chat that the rumor is they'll use the same cameras,
let's go ahead
but
and
the
grab that.
focus is
Yeah.
AI and software improvements.
So software has always been their biggest
Yes,
forte.
that's
So
it's huge.
yeah, and well, but again, it goes back to the whole allowing us to use the phone for more than just a phone.
Correct.
Like the Xperia line has become now to the broadcasting center of your focus. Your camera can connect to it, and you're broadcasting straight to YouTube, to Twitch. You're able to record on the Xperia One Mark IV, brought in on device recording, so it becomes your external recorder. Like a lot of things that you just don't think about your phone, but the fact is, yeah, your phone is it's storage, it's battery, it's a large
Yes,
display.
exactly.
It
It's
makes sense to
literally, yeah.
use
It's
it.
like it's like this is a content creator's paradise right here
Absolutely,
with
it
the
it, it
Sony.
is. Every time, this is why I'm always excited, because I always want to see what is that next step, what is that
Correct.
next little that they're going to do that makes it better.
Hmm.
Like last year or the year before, they also brought in on device like audio recording and then cloud based audio processing,
Correct.
separating audio tracks, especially if you play music and so on, or if you're recording music. So for those alone, those are exciting, but the fact that it's an event, but the fact that this is an event in Japan, two places
Oh,
I
I
really
know,
like.
I know, I know. Hey,
I know.
hopefully you get. Hopefully we'll see TK's on his way to Japan.
Oh, Tiki will be going to Japan regardless. I don't know. I was just hoping to see Sony. No, I saw our friend Snubs, Shannon Moore just
Yeah,
went
yeah.
back to Japan, and I every time I see that, I'm like, oh my god, I want to get on the flight. I want
Oh
to go.
man.
I truly,
Yeah.
truly miss. I mean, come on, like
Yes, yes. Yeah,
the land
exactly.
of, like, yeah,
Correct, correct.
like TK wants us to go back. TK wants us to
Definitely.
go back. But let me hold on. I think okay. So I just realized that my screen, when I was sharing a specific screen, not sharing everything. So here's the image, the article that we were talking about a little
Yeah,
bit. So as you can imagine, the name is not going to be a surprise. Xperia One Mark VI,
correct.
as you'd expect, will arrive sooner than we think. It's technically a little bit later if most people kind of consider like year over year.
Hmm.
Typically by April or so, there's been an announcement, or maybe March or April. That's usually when Sony will make the original, like just to show, like saying, "Hey, we're working on this." We haven't seen anything on that, and I think that was where we started kind of like, is there still going to be Xperias? But the event is set for May, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's May 17th. Yes, right there. So there's a Sony special event held on May 17th, and it will be basically in Japan. There are some people that are going to be invited, but it seems like there's a specific program to be able to get invited. You have to have a Sony ID and apply, but not everybody's going to get selected. As you can imagine,
Yeah.
some limitation in space. But the leaks, at least, were some of the things that we're talking about. As we saw there, when Umar was saying the fact that they're looking to keep the same sensors. That's not uncommon. That's usually not uncommon, but it's the way it's processed, as you said, AI. We've seen them do a couple of years of trying to do some post processing, bringing that into their camera stack,
Yeah.
not the camera stack, but into the camera processing.
Yes.
So some people liked it, some people didn't. Some people preferred the original Sony, the way the images were more truer to what the camera is taking or seeing. And I can go either way, honestly. The fact that I think like the same thing with Leica and what we have on the Xiaomi's. I can turn on vibrant if I want that type of a color profile or
Yeah.
color map, but I also want to be able to turn it off and go back to basic, or go back,
Correct.
not
Correct.
basic.
But to
Yeah.
standard, or yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So yeah. So here it says basically 100 people will allowed to attend using my Sony ID to attend for free. I don't know if that means invited, but it's more so just attending or getting into the show. So
Okay.
here, yeah, May 17th is on a Friday. in 2024. So we are literally, what is today? Less than a month away.
Less than a month.
They're literally less than a month away to figuring out what's going on. And with all, obviously, we'll have the 4K display, headphone jack. I'm hoping as well that we'll keep the SD card support. A lot of the things we typically like. But it also means that the phone will probably not come out till maybe later May, early June. So that's potentially when we'll probably see the first generation.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see the 5 and the 1 and the 10 series also continue going.
Yeah, it would be nice to see that. Yeah, it'd definitely be nice to see that. Because what I like about those series, like I wouldn't personally use them because the display width is a little too narrow for me. But it helps people. It's a different price point, so a lot of people can get the Xperia experience, so to speak, by going with a lower price point. So yeah, I hope it continues as well.
Or even form factor. The Xperia
Form factor,
5,
yeah, because not everybody wants a large phone, right? So
it's yeah, absolutely. I'll say for me the biggest benefit I find with the format that we get on Xperia is, so when you're playing games, especially like first person shooters and stuff like that, where it requires a lot of center display focus, most of the devices that are 16:9, your hands are always kind of covering a good part of the phone. So your view is very small. You always have to remove your thumbs to kind of figure out where you're going. With Sony's, because they're so much wider, by definition, your hands are wider and they're playing further. So you get better game, I would say better game real estate. And the other thing that I really like about them is their collaboration with Call of Duty and PUBG.
Yes.
High refresh rate, high frame rate. And we have, gaming without having to overheat the device, pass through power, HS power control, all of those little
sort of the stuff that you see in gaming phones that you're getting with that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no. And I think the article also kind of pulls a reference to the ROG and Zenphones and so on.
Correct. Yeah.
It's one of the very few companies that are still considering putting a high powered, headphone jack on a device, giving us that audiophile level experience. And again, recording from a headphone jack that is just uncalled for in 2024 now. It's like
exactly.
It's a feature that, like, what, you can use a headphone jack to record?
Yes.
Audio, next level stuff. And if you use the external display on the back, you have a secondary audio input on the back because you're using it over USB-C. So a lot of good things in there. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully more stuff will start coming out. Maybe Sony US will start talking a little bit more, because this was posted off of Sony Japan, by the way.
Correct.
This was not on the US side.
This was in the US, yeah.
And typically we are quite a bit away. Yeah. I'm trying to make it sound like I wish. I always wish for it to be faster, but more than likely, whenever it releases internationally,
what are we, like 3 months behind on Sony?
Typically.
Yeah.
Sadly, but typically.
Yeah.
And last year we didn't even get the Xperia 5. So
that's right. Yeah. It was canceled.
So only the one. So it kind of maybe looks we may be the same thing. We may just be the one. But we'll have to see. So I'm excited for that. And I have all the Xperia ones since the first.
Yeah.
Not to say that I'm trying to build a collection, but I am building a collection.
You're building a collection.
I'm
whether you want to or not.
Whether I want to or not. I have a lot of problems with what I number, a lot of Roman numerals after.
Yeah.
It's exciting. But actually, speaking of camera phones, and we're going to jump into AI and more Google stuff. From a mobile photography right now, I mean, the Find X7 Ultra is one of your favorite, but if there is a device that right now that you can basically go, and let's say you have an event that you need to cover, would you take the Find X7 Ultra, or is there another device that you have that you feel like if you take that, you're better, like that's going to be your you're dependable, you know exactly.
It probably would be the 13 Ultra, because I don't have the 14 Ultra, and I'll just tell you why. Right? So, so like if I'm doing a concert, it will be a Vivo.
Absolutely.
For the
low light,
the low light,
lower light.
Not the other ones are bad, but it'll be that. But I've gotten so lucky with, because usually if I'm covering an event, there's gonna be a lot of video. Some of the video that I've gotten on this, and I don't know if it's just luck of where I've been, whatever, but with my Xiaomi, and I know they're not the best for video, but for me, that's probably been the biggest comment. It's like, wow, that shot is unbelievable. This was your Xiaomi 13 Ultra? I'm like, yeah. So it probably would be the 13 Ultra out of my cameras.
Okay.
Yeah.
For stills and for video, or for
For video, probably for stills. If I'm just taking like maybe at a well, it could be in anyone because if I'm doing stills, TK,
Mhm.
when I go, if it's my Pixel, I'll point and shoot.
Mhm.
But every other phone that I use, like if I'm on vacation or I'm at an event, I'm in pro mode,
Of course.
so I can make the adjustment
Yeah.
with any of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know I'm with you. And the reason why I asked that specifically because yeah, it's down to the type of photography that you want to do.
correct.
Um, Up till the 14 Ultra, I'll say, and the Vivo right now. I'm actually I'll say this. I'm pampered between the two because for me, the answer to the same conversation that you had would be the Vivo X100 Pro for my video coverage, especially with again shooting in low
Oh,
light.
low light,
Yeah,
which we're in those type of events, we're probably gonna be low light, right? So
absolutely. I
yeah.
covered CES for the last 3 years with the X90 Pro, the X70 Pro, the X90 Pro, and then the X100 Pro. Every year they perform exquisite. It is
Yeah.
a workhorse to the point of breaking, but it is seriously, it's a dependable piece of hardware that you know.
Correct.
The mics are great and everything. Photography, I would say for me right now, it's
It's
the
the
Xiaomi
Xiaomi.
14 Ultra. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially like, and again, you need to jump into pro mode. You need to be able to tune it.
Yes.
It's the step aperture option that we get in there
Okay.
with the
And see,
14.
that's what I'm missing on mine. I just have that
Because you have
one.
to
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
you're able to jump
yeah.
between,
Yeah.
was like, I think it's 4 and 1.9.
Correct.
It drops a little bit bigger on the 14 Ultra, but just giving it a little bit bigger. But it has the ability of the step option automatically. But it produces beautiful, like the depth. It pulls the colors correctly, and again, it's just all the tools are in there. And
I need to
a
try it.
close
I
second
need
to
to
that
try
would
it.
be for me is the Find X7 Ultra.
Yeah. Yeah.
And between the Find X7 Ultra and the Find X6 Pro, I'll probably say that I find the 6 Pro feel like I love that one a little bit more
Yeah. Yeah.
because I felt like Oppo changed the colors a little bit.
They did.
They did change their approach, and I had wished they stayed to it.
Yeah.
Still a solid performer, still an easy recommendation to anybody to look into it. I can't wait. Between you and me, I can't wait for OnePlus to release the Ultra version of what they have. Because remember when they came out with the 12, there was rumors talking about the 12
Yes.
Ultra, and everybody thought it was going to be this guy, like it's going to be
Yeah.
just this with the
Yeah.
rebrand. I'm still waiting for it, but it seems like, at least for now, Oppo, that's their bread and butter, that's their device. And OnePlus obviously it's still really good with the 12. The
Oh, it's
12
still
is a
really good, but
great option.
I would like a
Yeah.
pure OnePlus. Yeah.
We
Now,
want
when
the
that
12.
happens, it'll probably switch for me. It would be I'm getting the OnePlus device, and then it would be Xiaomi and Vivo every year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like every year when I see their announcement, when I wait for that, I can't wait because it's exciting. Juan and I got a chance to see the Vivo X100 Pro last year at the MediaTek
Oh
Summit
yeah,
in
that's right. At the
Laguna.
MediaTek Summit. That's right.
They teased us with it, right? They're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, there you go. We can take the
Yeah.
thing," and then within a month, we got it. We got a
Yeah.
chance to play with it, and it was
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yes.
So yeah, but before we jumped off this, the Sony mobile photography for me is, I mean, I've been doing this for like 14 years, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've gone through where cameras were like with the original Nexus, right? Like there was
Oh
no front-facing camera, and
God.
the camera back was like way my
So
god.
it's funny that you mentioned the original Nexus. So today I was getting my car repaired at the spot, like in the exact building where I was trying to take photos in low light. When I say low light, just office light
Yeah.
or store office light with a Nexus 6. And it was like one of the worst experiences. And the Nexus 6 was one of my favorite phones of all
Oh yeah,
time.
it was.
And it was
Shamu,
terrible. Yeah,
nicknamed
the Shamu.
Shamu.
Yeah,
Shamu.
it was
It was
horrible. I'm like,
it was a
what is
massive phone with a
yeah.
dome back. Oh my god,
And
yeah.
I'm like, and I'm holding it, I'm hitting it, I'm like waiting for it to I'm like, what is happening here? There's got to be a better way, you know?
I know, no, dude, at its time, the Nexus 6 had, um, oh my God, it was such an amazing, because it was one of the first Nexus devices to have stereo speakers, front-facing stereo speakers, wireless charging. The backing was beautiful. I love that little dimple in the back to kind of rest your finger on it. When I stopped using it, I gave my old one to my mom. She carried that for about 8 months or so. And it's just, to me, it's The Nexus line, just again, we were at the era of innovation. Every time a new device came
Exactly.
out,
Yeah.
it was that new, how can we make
Correct.
it cooler?
Correct.
But no, exactly. I mean, and if you compare the Nexus 6 to the original Nexus, it's like twice. The first Nexus is tiny.
Oh, it's tiny.
It
And
was
then the
so
Nexus 6 was
huge.
humongous.
There's a reason why I went Shamu.
Yeah.
By comparison, we were going.
Oh,
And the 6P kind of lost a little bit of the height, but it was
it
more
got a
sleek,
little more. Yeah,
but it had the heating issue with the 810.
correct.
So that was
But
like,
correct. Yeah, yeah. It was. There's a lot of bad. Yes, the 6P was Huawei, so
it was
that's
the
why. That's when that was when they really started to pay attention to cameras.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
So
I remember we back in the old in the days there used to be a big Android barbecue in Texas that they would hold every year, and at my previous gig over at XDA, I used to be part of the hosts over there, and I remember the team over from CyanogenMod being in there with Huawei and just basically them kicking it and playing. And Ryan Chadwick, I don't know if maybe he's not watching us, but one of the people that I've actually met through Huawei, and now he obviously works with Nothing. They were doing go-karting in the back in the parking lot with just hanging out with everybody. They were just chilling. It was a fun party. Like we don't have a lot of those, but actually, speaking of which, we have Google I/O coming up in less than a month as well, in San Jose. I think it's on the 14th of May.
I think it's May 14th. Yeah.
We're like right around the corner. There's so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
May is going to be exciting. I think May is going to be.
I do. Yeah.
We're finally ramping up, right? Like I think we've been through a lull for a little bit.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a lull, but now it's starting to.
Like the January, February lull that we used to go to after CES has been moved to March, April.
Yes.
And May is wait a minute, hold my beer.
There's a lot.
I will show you. Yeah,
exactly.
So we got Google I/O. More than likely, we're going to be seeing probably the new Pixel 7. Well, not 7. No, yeah,
Pixel
8A, right? I think, the 8A.
8A, correct.
So probably that'll be next month as well. And so we're going to see the Sony. We're going to see. Oh man, what else?
We'll probably see the Vivo at some point.
You
think you're going to push it back? You think they're going to push it back even further? Okay.
I really hope they don't. I really want them to, like. I understand they want to give it breathing time, but they released the X100 Pro late last year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah,
now Oppo and Xiaomi have
everybody's
come out,
released their so they're all out. It's the only one missing is the X100 Pro. So it's like Pro Plus. So it feels like the conversation is not complete. I just hope that, like you said, if they do go with a different sensor, we'll see.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm very anxious.
Don't mess with the recipe.
Don't mess with the recipe. Don't mess with the recipe. Yeah.
Fine tune it. Give us some experiment. I mean, you have the V series, you have the other series. It doesn't have to be the X series. Correct. But no, I'm with you. So I'm excited to see what Sony does. Hopefully we'll see. I have not been invited. If things change and you see TK suddenly in Japan kicking it around the middle of May, you know what's happening.
Yes.
Exactly. And at that point, no, I'm just kidding. Do I wish I'd be there? Yes, I do.
Yes.
Especially before all the summer temperatures start kicking up in Japan, because it gets very muggy and also a lot of rain. That's very different. At least here, we're getting a lot of heat. But oh man, I keep forgetting. Yeah, that's right. Florida, you guys have a lot more humidity than we do.
Yeah, a lot more humidity. So right now it's still pretty good. It's April, so but starting about May, sometimes we get relief with the rain, but it gets hot.
Yeah,
I should say hot, but mainly humid at the beginning.
It's the humidity. The humidity that built my family and I've been to Orlando a couple of times for Disney and so on back when Omar was younger, and I remember you walk out of the hotel and you're like water.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
My biggest thing is the glasses fog up as soon as you walk out with it hitting you. We're like, whoa.
Oh yeah. It's like, okay, well, I walked outside, now I got a shower again. Okay.
Yeah,
that's great.
No, absolutely. But so speaking of that, I think one of the other things that I think was a good subject that actually you brought up. Let me bring that up over here. See if we can share the screen. I'm like technology, very funny. So speaking of I/O next month, as again we're talking about Google, and I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more about Android and development in Android 15. But Google seems to be wanting to combine its Android and hardware, basically Android and hardware team, to be more focused on AI. I think this was an article
Yes.
that was posted on The Verge. I'm not surprised. We're seeing a lot of conversions going on with Google
Correct.
right now.
Correct.
Again, we talked about Gemini, we talked
Yes.
about Bard,
Yep.
but yeah, this is going to be crazy.
Yeah, so I guess they're all going to be rolling under a platform and devices team now. So the Pixel team, Android, Chrome, Chrome OS will all go under that umbrella. So
Yeah,
there's more synergy, and there's a focus, a similar focus on AI between all of those different realities. So I'm hoping what that means. Well, the CEO Sundar was talking about it. Like he, outside of there's on their blog, he
yeah.
actually had a long talk, and that's kind of what his focus is. He's like, hey, I really wanted to make this change so we could be there and across the board. So there's a cohesive, Pixel, Android, Chrome
Yep.
OS, all have the AI, all have a similar feel. So they
I'm
didn't come out and say like it was going to be like Xiaomi's Hyper OS. It seemed like it was more making sure all the AI models and capability will be there. And I think they even talked about like how, with the new HDR
Mhm.
that they introduced last year, that now everybody else gets access to add more of those features throughout their whole ecosystem.
Well, especially since what we're seeing with even when we just talked about the 8A, that's going to be running Tensor. It's going to be running some of
Correct.
their latest chipset. They're not skimping on on the hardware when it comes to processors. So their models, in theory, from one of the things I'll say that Google's been kind of known for, and may not necessarily be the best situation, but it's their segregation and deviation of different groups, different teams doing different parts. And we've seen many projects being canned, many projects being sidelined or not incorporated correctly, multiple duplicate projects, like at Hangouts, and we had
Correct. Yeah.
I think Allo at some point.
Allo. Yep.
Yeah. So those are the things that I think as they're trying to focus more with AI, integrating them, synergizing the flow between the work, and it makes it so more of yeah, you pick up a Chrome OS device, you pick up an Android device, you pick up a tablet, your AI experience transitions with you. And if they don't pick up on this fast enough, with everybody else trying to incorporate, again, we talked about nothing trying to incorporate ChatGPT.
Yeah.
We're talking about OnePlus trying to incorporate Gemini. We're seeing OEMs wanting to bring in AI, more functional AI or LL, basically large language models into their ecosystem. And it behooves Google to be at the center of that and
Yeah.
making
Yeah.
sure that it's a cohesive experience,
Correct.
especially with Android. I mean, again, every device now, if you've ever picked up an Android within reasonable, like if it's within this year or so, if you try to launch your Android assistant for the first time, the first pop-up that comes up above it, before you're even able to use it, it says, try Gemini.
Exactly.
They've incorporated it. Like they're literally putting it there. So
Yeah.
um, I'm interested to see what they talk about. Of course, we're going to find out probably more next month. I am trying my hardest to be at Google I/O this year. I'm trying to work out my invitation and so on. So if that works out, your boy could be hanging out there and
Yeah, that would be
rubbing
good.
shoulders with some.
So I think one of the things that
Yeah,
like you made some good points, but one of the things that Michael was bringing up is
yeah,
a lot of times when you have this consolidation, it could mean layoffs. But we also have to understand, right?
yeah,
Like Google has messed up quite a bit
hmm, yeah, yeah. No,
with these introductions with Hangouts, Allo. Allo was like the first one to introduce Google Assistant into the chat so it
chat
could do
function,
things
auto
real time,
respond.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
And then it was like, oh, well, cool. You're gonna add a true like a SMS bridge or what have you. If you send that, it will be a fallback. No. So why would I switch to that? Little things like that. And I'm hoping that it's not a layup. I'm hoping it's really we want to get some synergy going to
I,
improve the overall experience.
I hope so as well. Yeah. The end of the day, layoffs mean loss of well, manpower for sure, but or personnel, but it's also loss of experience. You
Correct.
have these teams that have helped build certain products,
Yeah.
and if you're trying to truly synergize correctly and do it right, You need the creators of that tool. It's
Correct.
not like you could just bring in, here, bring in Johnny now. Johnny can do
Yeah,
this
you
and take
can't
care of
do
it
it.
for you. It doesn't
Yeah.
work the same. It's like the code, the language, exactly where everything is, the optimizations. You live through the troubleshooting. All of those things. So my hope, yeah, I'm with you, and I think to Michael's point of view as well, it's that desktop mode that
Oh,
never
yes.
elusive ever
Ever
since Android
elusive desktop.
10.0.
It's like, come on,
Like, oh my God, what I mean, Juan and I talked about it, and even if let's say Samsung does happen to jump on and say, look, Google, you could use our DeX, just make sure you keep calling it Samsung DeX and don't call it
hmm
whatever they do. Um, Having the function of finally giving us access to the video out functionality on the 8 Pro
Yes.
that we knew was there, but then that never kind of came out. Like, isn't that
Mhm.
like Google, where we'll find something out, but it's years later till it
It's
comes
years
out,
later
right?
before it comes out.
It's
Correct.
usually how it is.
Yeah.
But I think they've had enough time. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Yeah. Now I'm
We're
running
at
15 right now.
15.
So yeah. So it's
Like,
like,
please,
yeah.
Google, if you're listening, I will make sure to say this 6,000 times if I do end up making it to IO next month. I will say that on the top of my head. Actually, and maybe I want to print a shirt that says Google Android desktop mode. Make it
Yes.
happen.
Make it happen.
Walk
That would be great.
around the
Yeah.
entire show.
Yeah.
Next day on Dragon Ball, we'll take a break
Yeah.
from Goku for that one day.
Yeah.
We need to make that happen. Let me
Yeah.
first get the invitation, and we'll get
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
It's a
I
tough one.
always have hoped that it wasn't because Google didn't want to hurt Chromebook sales or whatever, but I think they should never look at it like that. That's not I don't think it's something that someone would cross shop.
No, yeah.
Well, tech enthusiasts would, but the average public doesn't know desktop modes exist,
No,
right?
absolutely, yeah. And
So
I would say, if nothing else, look over at Samsung.
correct,
Samsung's had DeX for how many years? Huawei has had desktop mode. Honor's
correct.
had desktop mode. Ready for on Motorola, and not once did it ever cannibalize one side to the other.
Thank you.
It's the like, yeah. So my hope is, I'm hoping for that to be the big announcement,
Yeah.
even if it isn't necessarily in, like, it's done, it's cooked, it's baked, it's ready to go.
But
Type of
yeah,
conversation.
we're
Start talking
we're
about it
committed.
again.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's been there. It's been there for many generations. We've been able to turn it on. It has been like LG did a better job at it's like,
Correct. With Screen
good old
Plus.
LG. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like LG did a better job with that
Yeah.
before they left. That I hope that Google will follow through with that. So yeah. So long story is, it's better for them to synergize. It's better for them to give us a better product. And it benefits us as a consumer, but also with them as a company, so that they're saying the same thing from different levels. It's no longer this, depending on what piece of tech that you pick up from Google, you're getting a different conversation. And once it's standardized, if desktop mode does become that, then every device will have it, regardless of, be it, if it's not a Samsung or a Moto,
Yeah. Everybody can
Xiaomi
have
gets
it.
it, Oppo
Yes.
gets it.
Exactly.
It becomes part of the code. It goes in
Yes.
Android.
Exactly. It's an improvement for Android. Everybody is better there.
And hopefully more. I'll say my other hope is this. It more than likely won't happen. I'm hoping for more on-device AI
Yes,
functions.
so TK, like I was excited about Video Boost. I
Mhm.
used it a couple of times, and when it first got there, I used it, and then I'm like, I'm not gonna use this thing.
It's not practical. It
It's
is
not
absolute.
practical.
It's not real time. It's not in the moment.
No,
You can't rely on it because you
no,
don't know how it's going to look.
no.
Like,
That's what I'm saying.
as
I'm
as
like,
a
I need real time
yeah,
oh, is it even worth it to use this, or I'll just take the standard. So
yeah.
it needs to be on device, these type of things.
Yeah, or at least give us the preview function of it is on device correctly.
Correct.
When we're looking at it, even if it's in true, like, if it's not like 100%, but at least give us an understanding of how it's going to look. For it to
Correct.
be like Magic Eraser is amazing because it ran on device.
It ran on device. Yeah.
It's when you start wanting to move things and then they're starting to pull data from
Yeah.
the server. That was one of my biggest challenges last year when I was in Hong Kong and I went to Shenzhen. Like, I took my Pixel 8 Pro with me, but I was like very limited because of my connectivity.
Correct.
And like all of that bells and whistles and hoopla and all of that stuff goes down the
Doesn't
drain if
mean
you
that
can't
when you
use
don't
it.
have, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it
When the
absolutely
cloud is
becomes.
not accessible, it's like,
No, again, one of the reasons why when Oppo announced their Magic Eraser here,
yes,
I was like, Yes, finally.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, it was still an enjoyable device. It was still great. I was able to use it all the time, but it was just more traveling with your device is something that we don't think about too much. But as we're back now to more travel, people like to experience different things. You have to think about it. Does your phone work the same outside of your home network as it's supposed to? And again, connectivity is a big thing if you're trying to do more service based, online based, where internet is not going to be the best, especially when you're in an area like I went to Shenzhen. I had no access to Google services. I couldn't use anything Google. Like if I was on a
Yeah.
VPN, there was no Gmail.
Yeah. There's nothing.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we'll see. We'll see. We're within a month from there. Hopefully we'll find out some more, and more things coming up from them. But I'm realizing we're kind of coming into our beautiful around time of roughly
Hmm.
how it is.
Hmm. Hmm.
I know the week is not over yet. I think it's still beautiful Thursday. When do you think the your new is it coming out this week? Your Find X7 Ultra video, or is that
Yeah. So I'll
something that,
probably release it Sunday. I'll probably around that time. Yeah. So that will be my first intro video of that, and then I'll start doing a lot of the comparisons.
oh, I'm
Yeah.
excited. I can't wait for
Yeah.
that one. And
Yeah.
I saw like I said, I saw the Soundcore one, and that kind of piqued my interest. Like, wow,
Yeah.
hey, look at that.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
didn't think you did speakers. That was like the
I
the
didn't. I didn't. It was just something compelled. Like started using. I'm like, man, this is really good. Let me do a video about it. So
Soundcore, Anchor's different. I would call the Anchor houses. The Soundcore, the Eufy, oh man, the projector. I forget, the Nebula is the projector side, and then you got
mhm.
the Anchor Works and so on. They have so many different houses, and so
Yeah,
but
yeah. But they all
um,
do a good job.
they all do some amazing,
Yeah.
especially their batteries. Juan and I have had a
Yes.
chance to check out some of their backup batteries. They're crazy good.
Yes.
And we've lived through a couple of blackouts here, both he and I, like where we've leveraged the power of these things tremendously.
Yeah.
But Soundcore's been hitting it out of the park, and a whole bunch of different things. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. Again,
Yeah.
definitely a good. I'd like to see your thoughts on the Find X7 Ultra, because very few people have it.
Yeah.
And I think Oppo just announced their Find X7 Ultra satellite mode.
Satellite. Yes.
The
Correct.
satellite
Yeah.
edition,
Yeah. Yeah.
which surprisingly, because that was also kind of what Qualcomm was trying to do a couple of years ago.
Correct.
Remember, there was the whole
Yeah. They're good.
satellite,
The whole satellite. Yeah. Backup and all that stuff.
and they
Yeah.
all
So.
kind of went cheap. Nobody talked
Yep.
about that.
Yep.
But yeah, no, for sure. I forgot to ask though, which color did you get?
So I got the black, and the reason why I got the black
Okay.
is I really like the double stitching
Mhm.
on the black that wasn't available on the other series.
Yeah, let me.
Like it
Sorry, I
actually has
just.
double stitching in the center of it. So I
Ooh,
was
okay.
yeah. So I don't sure why they didn't do that. So because I really wanted the color that you got, but then when I looked at it on Giztop, I was like, wait a second, it doesn't have the double stitching, so I'm gonna go with the
No,
black.
it's. I mean, it
I don't
still
know why
feels
they
very
did
nice.
that. Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
weird, like, I think the blue one also has the double stitching on it, which this one didn't. But I think it's overall, it's a design. I think they didn't want it to look too much like the 6
correct.
Pro. I feel like the 6 Pro to me still is by far. I mean, and this one builds on it absolutely. But yeah, no. The Find X7 Ultra it's a piece of art, and I
It
appreciate
really is.
Oppo's dedication.
Yeah.
And having been to their lab in Shenzhen and saw all the testing that they did with the Find X7 Ultras, uh, or sorry, the Find X6 Pros back
Mhm.
then, it was crazy. And being that I was in the factory right next to OnePlus, the OnePlus 12 being built at the time, I didn't realize it was a 12.
Yes, yeah. It was right next
It
to
was
me.
a crazy, like you find out after, it was like, wait a minute, that's
That
not
was
the
the one
11,
plus
that was
12.
the
Yeah.
12.
Wow.
It was, yeah. It was my buddy Ben Singh and myself. We
Yeah,
were
I remember
walking.
you were
We
walking
were
around.
standing there. We're
Yeah.
looking over, and they were like making sure we don't look or take pictures on
Yeah.
the left side. Like
Yeah.
we were walking down like between two assembly lines, right? The left side we were not supposed to, so we were like almost like this, as if we can't turn left, and it was there. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. For me,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit sluggish on this, and I should have finished this already. My Xiaomi Pad 12 6S Pro,
Okay, cool. Great
12.41.
tablet.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
fantastic tablet.
great tablet.
A lot of good improvements over the original 6 Pro, which again for me was still also a very nice tablet. The only thing I felt like it lacked there was the size of the tablet. It was an 8-inch as opposed to a 12. This one kind of makes it a little bit more of a desktop experience. They do have some optimizations done there. There's a couple of like the folio case that they sent me with it was really nice, like a very nice thin Like
Yeah.
it holds and it does this little. I'm going to call them the geographic. I almost dropped it here, where it basically it does
Michael's
this.
already saying Xiaomi pad versus OnePlus pad. Oh, that's nice.
The ergonomic is kind of
Yeah, that's pretty
like
cool.
origami in the back,
Yeah.
and it really runs very nice. I really
Yeah.
like it. I take it with me all the time. And of course, with the pen, charges it wirelessly. Even the folio has a pen holder. So that's the video I'm hoping is released by hopefully Sunday, maybe Monday at the latest.
Okay, cool.
And I think there's a few more things I can't talk on yet.
Yes, but we'll be excited to see it.
But I will say, we're starting to pick up, guys. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Stuff's picking up. May looks like to be a very busy month. At least for me, if I, again, hopefully with IO, and we'll see what's happening with Sony. But I do want to say thank you very much again, Barry, for taking time.
Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Staying up with us, kicking it with us, and everybody, of course, in the chat. We have obviously Michael Peppertech in there. Barry is in the chat as well. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
And everybody in there, and Bionic Scoop. Oh, wait, I didn't even see Scoop was in there.
Scoop.
Oh man, I didn't see that. Okay, yeah, and then everybody in there, of course. Simon says Hypno was in there as well. Thank you very much for hanging out with us on this beautiful Thursday. We'll be back next week on another episode of the Best of Our Week. Hopefully, Juan will be back with us as well. And Barry, you're always welcome to join us.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
If you guys would like to be able to follow Barry, please make sure to check out the show notes, his socials, as well as his YouTube channel. He creates content under his own as well. Barry Johnson's on YouTube, and I think his engineer reacts on both Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah,
I think it's the same handle for both accounts, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And hopefully the audio version of the podcast will come out in the next day or so. But it's always fun to just check out what tech is exciting us and what our week is going. And a lot of good rumors, a lot of good things. Huawei's coming back in a good way.
In a good way.
In a really good way. And I can't wait to see what more AI and more functions, new things come out at Google I/O for next year in Android 15. So thank you, everybody. Take care. And make sure to catch up with Juan on Monday with the SGGQA at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, as our normal buddy kind of kicks off the week for us with all the good news and
definitely.
Take care, everybody.